Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there tonight and had yourselves a wonderful day. And I certainly hope everyone's been having a great week out there so far. Here to bring you the latest information that we have on Tropical Storm Debby. Debby continues to bring widespread impacts across the Carolinas. Even some showers and storms pivoting to the south of the low pressure as far south as like Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Florida. Then we got rain as far north as like the mid-Atlantic. So we're going to go over all the latest information that we have. I'll speak a little bit about what's going on with this system right now, latest from the National Hurricane Center. We'll talk about some model guidance, but really just speak on some of these short-range models. And then we'll also take a look at the European model too, which I think is initializing with this storm very well. You know, I've been siding with the European for about the last, 3 to 4 days. If you've been tuning in with every video, you guys know I've been speaking heavily on the European model, and I think it continues to do very well with this system. We'll speak a lot on impacts. Okay, we'll give you the latest information that we have on that. We'll talk about the tornado threat, flash flooding risk, the risk of strong winds pretty far inland. I'm talking about as far inland as like Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, maybe all the way back to Columbia. Remember, I always told you I thought Thursday was going to pack the biggest punch with this system, and that has not changed. That has not changed at all. So we'll talk about the tornado risk that I think is going to be quite significant in eastern North Carolina, potentially tomorrow. And yeah, we'll throw a bone to the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast too, talk a little bit about impacts up there. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Thank you for the amazing growth, the Kickstart August. It's been awesome to see, and just welcome to any new subscribers to the channel. Thank you for following along, trusting me as a source to get your weather from. And I really appreciate all your kind and positive feedback. It certainly drives me, drives the fire when I'm tired and worn down to keep on pumping out the content. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, please, please, please. That's very important. The most important thing on this channel, in my opinion. Please put those prayer requests in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others have an opportunity to do so too. Even if it's unspoken, put it in the comments below. We'll pray for you. So let's get rocking and rolling. So this is the radar right now. What's going on with this system? Tropical Storm Debby has technically not made a landfall as of around, might as well say 7 p.m. Eastern time. I would say the center of this low pressure is just off the coastline. I mean, maybe like right into here, maybe even a little bit closer. But this is moving at 3 miles per hour. The last National Hurricane Center update says. So it's crawling out there in the ocean, moving northeast. So basically these pivoting bands are not really moving far west, because the actual center of the storm is kind of just pivoting in one spot. I mean, it is moving. It's got forward motion to it, but like I said, 3 miles per hour is not a lot. So, you know, we're getting these banding features that are moving into southeast North Carolina, areas of extreme northeast South Carolina, and this entire region is picking up a lot of rain right now, even all the way back into the eastern Midlands of South Carolina. You know, eastern Midlands of South Carolina have flash flood warnings ongoing right now. You see these kind of boxed regions right here. These are flash flood warnings in the eastern sections of the eastern Midlands of South Carolina. I mean, all the way back down to the low country, we're starting to get flash flood warnings. So there's a lot of areas that, you know, we're thinking, hey, Mitch, this is not materializing. The forecast rainfall totals are not materializing like they forecasted. And I would say you're correct in some areas. But there's other areas where you're making up for, you're heading back towards that initial forecast amount. Because, I mean, in these areas like right here, you're getting 2 to 3 inch per hour rainfall rates in southeast North Carolina. You're picking up a lot of rain in the eastern Midlands right now. You're getting rain all the way up into the eastern sections of North Carolina. So just remember, and I'm not going to dive too deep into this. We had some feisty comments in yesterday and this morning's video. Just remember, not everybody lives where you live. You know, you might be commenting from Charleston, Georgetown. You're thinking we only got this amount of inches of rain. But, you know, it's a slap in the face when you're saying the entire storm is a bust when you got somebody else's house that's underwater. So just remember that. You know, we're not always going to be able to narrow down and really nail down every individual area. That's why I talk in so much detail in these videos, talk about what's driving it. Just try to mention every single town I can as possible. Just think of things more of a widespread vantage point. Okay, not everything's your house, and it's not a shot at anybody particular. You know, it's just I'm just speaking from the heart at a personal level which has always been what this channel is about. Just remember, not everybody lives where you live. Okay? So, I'm done with my soapbox there. Let's keep rolling. But a lot of activity continues to pivot around, and the models are doing pretty well handling this. I mean, I live in Columbia. This nasty band of rain is about an hour east of me. I'm definitely watching it like a hawk if it's going to move over my area. But anyways, this is what's going on with the system right now. It's not made a technical landfall as of right now. Latest information from the National Hurricane Center. It's a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. It actually strengthened a little bit more than what we were anticipating it to. But I'm going to tell you, all the strongest winds are well away from the center. Hundreds of miles away from the center. This thing has no real core to it. So, yes, it is a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. But the winds are really displaced away from the center. This is because the structure has been completely shredded because of land interaction over the last couple of days. But moving a whopping north-northeast at 3 miles per hour, 995 millibar storm. Latest 5 p.m. advisory. We'll have another one here shortly. But at this point, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. This might upgrade another 5 miles per hour. It might not. Either way, it's not going to change everything I'm going to mention. But we might get a bump up to a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm, maybe a 70, who knows, sometime in the next advisory or two. Going to make landfall around midnight, give or take an hour, kind of around the Georgetown area, somewhere between Charleston and Myrtle Beach. The rest of the center of the storm is going to go right through the Florence and PD of South Carolina area throughout tomorrow afternoon. The core of this storm is going to go right through the central sections of North Carolina. But I just want to reiterate this. The core of the storm might go exactly like this, but I mean the impacts are going to spread out way out here and like this. So the actual core of the rain and wind is going to be out like this, and then you're going to have the tornado. That's a terrible zigzaggy. Tornado threat's going to be well east of the center because it's going to, you guys in eastern North Carolina are going to be on that dirty east quadrant of this tropical system that always produces tornadoes. And I really think, and I'm going to speak on it, I really think eastern North Carolina is going to have a nasty tornado setup for tomorrow. We'll speak heavily on that later in the video. But this thing turns post-tropical maybe before it even leaves North Carolina tomorrow night. 2 a.m. Friday. We take it to 2 p.m. Friday afternoon. This thing's over the mid-Atlantic. And by the time we get into 2 a.m. Saturday, from here to here, it moves, only in 12 hours it moves this amount of real estate. So at this point, we're getting into the middle portion of the weekend. I mean, this thing is heading well up into Canada and pretty much just meets its demise, and we can finally wave one last goodbye to Debby. So that's the latest cone, kind of a broad look at things, more traditional look at this that you guys are probably used to seeing here. Here's the cone that does extend all the way up through areas of New Brunswick and the northern portion of Newfoundland. So watches, warnings, and advisories we have got, and let's see if we have any new info here. We got tropical storm warnings that have actually been issued a little bit further inland now. So you got tropical storm warnings almost all the way up to Florence. We definitely continue to have the tropical storm warnings out for the low country of South Carolina. Basically every county in the coastal areas of South Carolina and a couple counties inland, also southeastern sections of North Carolina, continue to have tropical storm warnings. Those darker shades of red here, that is flash flood warnings ongoing. And this yellow, this is where you have a tornado watch, I believe, all the way up to about 10 p.m. tonight. But a look at the HRRR model. I just want to show you a mesoscale model here at the evolution of this storm. We're actually going to go back to this when we show you a breakdown of the severe weather threat for tomorrow. But it's not initializing very well. For example, there's a band like right into here that the HRRR model is not really showing. But we're going to show you what we got here, because it's all we got as far as short-range models. We can show you the NAM too, but it shows about the same. So let's take it all the way to about, it's about 2 a.m. tonight Eastern time. Okay, so 2 a.m. in the morning tonight, you got this huge band setting up. So who is this covering? This is covering like Sumter, almost all the way back to Columbia, all the way down to Orangeburg, Florence, Chesterfield, Cheraw, Jefferson, Lumberton, Fayetteville. Yeah, a lot of people. You see this band right here in the Carolinas? That could be producing 2.5, 3 inch per hour rates. At minimum, maybe an inch per hour rates. Strong gusty winds, 30 to 40 miles per hour. You're going to start to get power outages in this banding feature right here. Okay, you keep this going, and you're waking up tomorrow morning. This is around 8 a.m. tomorrow. Look how this band is backed up all the way back west, all the way up to Charlotte, Rock Hill, maybe Union, down to Columbia. Okay, you guys are waking up to some nasty, even at times tropical storm force conditions in the Piedmont, North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, northern Midlands. At the same time, you're waking up to these nasty banding features right here into North Carolina. These could be producing a morning tornado threat across eastern sections of North Carolina already. Low pressure kind of moving through here. This is that entire circled area I just drew with the arrow going in between it. That's your eastern side of the system, the dirty side. Okay, you continue to move this forward. We take it to about midday tomorrow. The rain from this gets all the way back to the North Carolina mountains just about. We could get some strong gusty winds embedded in this rain right into here. Got to watch the tornado threat right into here. These banding features moving through. Rotation with a lot of these storms. You're going to have a dry punch of air feeding in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. This will actually help aid in the tornado threat, probably producing favorable what we call lapse rates. Not going to get too nerdy with you guys on that. But you continue, guys, to get into like late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Look at all this rain falling in an area of the country that really needs it, Virginia. But look at this big rain event tomorrow evening from upstate South Carolina through western North Carolina all the way into western VA, getting all the way into West Virginia. Especially in this area right up here, you guys really need the rain. You're going to get it, but probably get it a little bit too fast. We definitely could get a flooding scenario. A lot of rain getting pushed up against the foothills and the mountains of North Carolina and Virginia. Folks, this could be a developing flooding situation in this circled area. We got to watch for this. The system, the rain from it has really pushed pretty far northwest in model guidance. And we keep this going, and we got to watch this band that forms up under the low, center of the low, going right through the Piedmont. You want to watch these little features right into here. We could get one last hurrah with this system tomorrow evening with some nasty showers and storms that are pivoting through the low country, eastern sections of South Carolina, then back through eastern North Carolina Friday morning. So that's something to watch. Now, I do want to show you guys the latest Euro. I think it's initializing better. It shows that nasty band. Like this is initializing for 8 p.m., so here in about the next hour. It shows that band pretty well. The actual band that's ongoing right now, if you go back and look at the radar, this is what's happening right now. Okay? And this is what the Euro is saying is happening right now, which is it's doing pretty well. So if we kind of zoom into South Carolina areas of Georgia, and we keep this moving, it says that band kind of falls apart. We get into around 2 a.m. tonight. There's the low, makes that landfall somewhere in the wee hours of the morning. You're starting to get these gusty bands of tropical downpours all the way back to the central Midlands, Columbia, Florence, getting it. And you continue to move this forward. Look at this nasty band kind of blasting through the northern Midlands of South Carolina, north of Columbia, PD of South Carolina. Look at Rock Hill. This is around 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is hitting you guys pretty hard. Low moving through, gusty winds, 30, 35, 40 mile per hour winds, strong tropical downpours, few to maybe several inches of rain adding up. And look how close that low pressure is to Columbia around 2 p.m. tomorrow. This is no doubt going to bring some very strong gusty winds northeast of Columbia into Columbia area. That's why they've canceled schools in the Midlands of South Carolina. And this will continue. And we just have to watch. The Euro shows that band up under this low, like the HRRR model does too, down here to Charleston. You want to watch for this band that kind of sweeps through on the southern end of the low, hits Myrtle Beach also. As this thing is kind of pulling out, Debbie almost kind of comes down and just like tail whips South Carolina one last time before it says bye. Kind of just a rude goodbye, if you will. But we kind of look at North Carolina, and the Euro shows what the HRRR model is showing, the HRRR model. All right, we're getting until 11 a.m. Things go downhill. Like I said, we could get all-out tropical storm force conditions from Charlotte to Greensboro up to Hickory, Danville, Virginia, over to Raleigh, Fayetteville. Look at this band that blasts through Charlotte. This banding feature right here, this is around 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'm telling you, this could be dumping 2 to 3 inch per hour rainfall rates, 30 to 35, 40 mile per hour wind gust embedded in this band. And, this continues to push towards Virginia throughout North Carolina, maybe making it as far north as like West Virginia. But look at this. I mean, we take it all the way till tomorrow around this time. Roanoke, Hickory, Boone, Greensboro, Danville. I mean, you're getting some gusty storms, just all-out tropical storm force conditions at times. Not sustained necessarily, but at times. And, you know, you look at Roanoke around 11 p.m. tomorrow, Danville, up to Charlottesville, Harrisburg. I mean, you're going to have some dicey conditions tomorrow evening. I mean, with heavy rain, strong gusty winds, eventually getting all the way up into the mid-Atlantic. So if we're looking at impacts now, okay, and you guys, I'm not trying to blow smoke up my rear or anything or toot my own horn, but I've been mentioning in the last couple videos about this band, about Thursday being a high impact day. And I don't see why it's not. I still don't. And you look at the rainfall, and let's see if we got a new graphic here. We look at rainfall possibility between now and Saturday morning. I mean, guys, we could have another over 6 to 8 inches of rain to come. I mean, it's adding up right now in southeast North Carolina, PD of South Carolina. Going for still about 4 inches of rain in Charlotte. Up to, the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area, Raleigh, 4 to 5 inches of rain. Roanoke up to southwest western VA, 4 to 5 inches of rain. It's going to fall fast and furious too. Okay, now we compare some of this all other model, guys. Like, let's look at the European model. What does it show? It's not a whole lot different. Has the rain getting a little bit further back west. So, gets like west of Columbia, gets gets well west of Charlotte. But look at the tight gradient of this. But this likes that area right in here too, of southeast North Carolina, eastern South Carolina. Then we look at the latest the latest GFS. What does that show? Well, it keeps most of the action further east. Okay, but dumps 5 to 6 inches of rain on Charlotte, Fayetteville, a lot of rain. And then we look just at the good old blend of all models, which I think has a really good idea of this. It follows the same suit as the National Weather Service. So I like what the blend of all models is showing. Okay, so, hopefully you know where you are on the map. It's not a diss on anybody, but it's very important. Especially when you're trying to figure out, because obviously I can't mention every town and city in all these states. So this is the latest from the blend of all models as far as rainfall. So if we're taking a look at the excessive rainfall outlook tomorrow, folks, there's a high risk now from south of Fayetteville through Greensboro, the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. If you live between Fayetteville and Greensboro, you're in a high risk. All the way up to Blacksburg, Roanoke, Raleigh, Durham, to Charlotte, you still are under that high risk or moderate risk, of flash flooding. The pink area is the high risk. Folks, if you live in this pink area, that's a 4 out of 4 risk criteria out of the I'm getting my words, guys. I've been doing this nonstop. I'm starting to get all tongue twisted. But if you're in the high risk, if you're in the pink area, folks, that's a 70% chance of flash flood guidance being exceeded within 25 miles of any given location. That is serious. Take it serious, please, guys. So high risk of flash flooding. Winds. So winds will be tricky. But I buy the Euro. I'm not even going to show any other model guidance. And you see in the green area, it's where you can get 30 to 40, maybe as much as 45 mile per hour wind gusts, embedded in some of these banding features that pivot through the Carolinas. And I really want to watch, like I said, Columbia up to Charlotte, up to all the communities in the triad of North Carolina, all the way up to Virginia, gusty winds. And even though you're not going to have just, I would say, consistent rains across areas of eastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina, you're going to continue just to get very strong winds associated with these bands, even along with the tornado threat with this too. So you'll get the gusty winds, a stout southerly flow out of this area. You'll get some very strong wind gusts even outside of some of these outer bands that really pivot through on the east side of this low. So in this entire area, combined with the rainfall, strong gusty winds will get going, especially later tonight in this area. The Storm Prediction Center outlook, see if we have any new information. We don't. Slight risk level 2 out of 5 from central VA all the way through southern VA, southeastern VA, all the way through the eastern sections of North Carolina. This is where we have a 5% risk of a tornado in the Brown area within 25 miles of any given location. We could get a bump up to an enhanced risk with this. We very well could. So stay tuned for the latest information if confidence does increase with tornadoes. But Raleigh up to Richmond, everybody in between. Legit tornado risk tomorrow. And we'll go back and look at the HER model here. This is what I worry about as we're getting into tomorrow, even waking up tomorrow, guys. You see this band pivoting through eastern North Carolina. These banding features right here. These are these outer bands, kind of low right over here, and these are basically wisping on the eastern to northeast quadrant of this storm. So your low-level jet is ramping through this area. Kinematics support spin-ups with these outer bands that are pivoting from the south to the north throughout this entire area. So if you live in anywhere in eastern North Carolina, eventually up into southeastern Virginia tomorrow, you're going to have that warm, moist air brought to you by any kind of tropical system, kinematic wind flow out the south. Just trust me, there's going to be a tornado threat with these storms, and they're going to pivot all the way up into southeast Virginia, southern Virginia tomorrow afternoon. You can continue to have a tornado threat with all these bands that continue. Like, look at this one that's a little bit more discreet. You're going to have to watch out for that around this time tomorrow. And then we have to watch this little flow. I don't think this will have a tornado threat to it because it's on the southern side of this. Wouldn't make sense. But you do have to watch as they kind of pivot back through on the southeast quadrant. These storms could introduce another threat of some severe weather, gusty winds as this pivots on through. But if you actually look at the ingredients, this is what I mean by that low-level jet. As this moves, let's see if we can get it in motion. Come on, work with us. Need an update from the screen. There it is. There's your center of your low right here. These are winds at 850 millibars, about a mile up in the air. So you see you have this ramping 50 knot in general low-level jet rumbling through the eastern sections of North Carolina. This is going to put a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere, a lot of spin in the atmosphere, and this entire area east and northeast of this low right in here is certainly going to have the ingredients for tornadoes as you basically have this southerly flow on the east side of this system. You mix that, you're going to have enough cape levels, and if you look at the significant tornado parameter in this area, you can see these spikes even tomorrow morning. See these little spikes. This is the highest I've seen the parameters since covering Tropical Storm Debby. And even in these areas, you have spikes up to like 6 and 7s on the significant tornado parameter. So the ingredients look there tomorrow better than it has any day as far as the tornado threat since covering Tropical Storm Debby. This oozes up in the southeast VA. We're just going to have a tornado risk throughout the afternoon and evening hours, getting eventually maybe all the way up to just south of the D.C. area. There will be a legit risk of tornadoes with all these bands pivoting through. So continue to watch out for that. Now, if we look at the rest of everybody else, look at the latest Euro for the Northeast. We'll get a lot of rain that starts to already push out ahead of this of Tropical Storm Debby throughout the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. Look at all these greens and yellow splotches of yellows and orange. It'll be kind of scattered about. But then, of course, as we're waking up Friday morning, more of just widespread rainfall completely basically just covers up areas of the Northeast. As soon as this low starts to move closer, your winds will really pick up, some strong gusty winds Friday evening across the big cities of the I-95 corridor, lows riding right here. So, certainly if you live in this area right here, some strong gusty winds with a stout flow moving and wrapping around this low. So this is certainly going to bring some gusty showers and storms to some of the big cities along the I-95 corridor. So we'll certainly watch out for that. But this low will continue to race off and just bring a whole lot of rain for everybody across the Northeast. We definitely want to watch out for flooding, rain getting pushed up against some of these higher mountain tops and mountain ranges and things like that. But eventually it does move on off into Canada. Storm Prediction Center, as far as the Weather Prediction Center, as far as rainfall, several inches of rain to the Mid-Atlantic. The state of Pennsylvania, besides the far western counties, is good for 2 to 4 inches of rain. New Jersey. So many people say I forget to mention New Jersey. First off, I'm not going to remember to say every single state. Second off, guys, like I said, I know I'm acting a little feisty tonight, but you got to know where your state is on the map. I know it makes you guys feel better if I say your state. I know it does. I get it. But you also see your state on the map. I hope you do. For example, I would hope that you know that this is New Jersey right here. If you live in New Jersey, especially if you live in Kansas, and it might be a different story. You're not familiar with this area. But for example, you can look right on the screen and say, okay, northern New Jersey looks like 2 to 3 inches of rain. Maybe southern New Jersey looks a little bit less. So, it's hard to mention everybody, guys, to audibly say everybody. So just remember that. I know I'm acting a little feisty at night. Just trying to help you guys out. I really am, and not trying to be sarcastic with it. But I hope you guys understand. But we head on up to New England and New York City. New York, the state of New York. Widespread inch to its 3 inches of rain. Vermont, New Hampshire. I think the further north you get in those states, the more rain. We don't need rain in that area. I think the further north and west you get in Maine, a couple inches of rain possible. Southern New England, not as much rain, but you could get some stronger winds into this area. And speaking of those winds, gusty winds, kind of the same thing for the southeast. Anywhere from 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts are possible. If you live in a Tidewater, Delmarva, winds could be a little bit stronger as you're getting that stout southerly flow with a low to your west. We're going to get some strong rains. Some strong winds up into the Jersey Shore, Long Island, southern New England. You can tell I'm running out of gas, guys. Thankfully, we're at the end of the video. And we could definitely get some higher wind speeds up against the Adirondacks, Green and White Mountains, the Berkshires, Catskills, as this system kind of plows right into these higher elevations of the Appalachian Mountains in New England. So, that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for trusting me. Thank y'all for tuning in, for being champs through all my slip-ups with words. It's just when you repeat the same information twice a day, you're bound to screw up somewhere, right? So you guys stay safe tonight. God bless. Heed the warnings. Take them serious. And that's all I got. We'll do it again in the morning.